Do you choose the wide or the narrow gate? Okay, I know you think you choose a narrow gate, but I want to say this. I remember telling my kids I wanted them to be virgins until they got married. I had a video about that before. That's the narrow gate, and I expected them to do something super tough because very few people were doing that. More people were taking the wide gate and saying, everybody does it. I have another friend, they got invited to a gay wedding. It was her best friend's son. She said, well, it's my best friend. I don't agree, but I'm supporting my best friend. What do you think people would think if we didn't go? They chose the wide gate because it was too hard to go through the narrow gate. They did what everybody else was doing. And I think about my standards. The wide gate is everyone saying, everyone's been getting divorced. I mean, look, since the 70s, it shot up. Well, of course, since no-fault divorce was allowed. The wide gate was just go, it's okay. Tell people it's okay. Go and enter into a second fake marriage. Well, the first marriage is not fake, the second one is. Or do you choose that narrow gate? Look, the narrow gate is not pleasant. The narrow gate, as it says in the Bible, has thorns and thistles. You're walking down this thing and you're getting bit, you're getting pricked, you're working through. Out in my garden here, it seems like there's tons of poison ivy everywhere I go. So for me, I'm like always trying to avoid it. The narrow gate in society is the thing that so many others would laugh at us if we did. They'd judge us if we did. Simple things like making the sign of cross in public when you're making your prayers, or for those of you that aren't Catholic, just praying out loud in public. No one else is doing it. The narrow gate is always going to make you stand out. And when that happens, those taking the wide gate are going to challenge you. They're going to mock you. They're going to call you names. And I was talking to my daughter once, and we talked about persecution. She goes, well, you're not being persecuted. And I was like, well, yeah, when people laugh at your post negative comments on your podcast and stuff. And for her, she was like, that's not persecution. I'm like, well, let's talk about it. Because so many of us have this concept that persecution is, what Paul was doing to the Christians, and you beat them and you crucify them, and that's it. The people right now in Nigeria and Tanzania, and God forbid, in Uganda that I saw, that so many people died for Jesus. They were tortured, burned. That's what most people think about as persecution. But many of us are persecuted every day. You are likely persecuted. Think about, I just had another phone call. I do these videos when I get my phone calls with different people. I have a woman whose 32-year marriage has ended. Her husband filed. There was another woman, and they're going to their child's wedding very soon. And my standard, this woman, is going to wear her wedding ring. Everyone knows she's legally divorced. Everyone else would probably take off their ring, even if they were standing, so that they wouldn't get a lot of questions, have people ask, feel awkward, not want to do that. But you know what? That's the wide path. She's taking the narrow path, knowing people will judge her, people will think she's crazy. You know what people say to us standers the most? They say we're delusional. You're delusional if you think your spouse is coming back. Well, we've had already 20 reconciliations, so guess what? Those 20 people weren't delusional, now were they? But the narrow path is the one where people aren't walking. When people are walking on the wide path and you're on the narrow path, it makes them feel bad. It actually kind of shines a light on their decision. And when I'm choosing the wide path and someone else is choosing the narrow path, it's not comfortable. It makes me cringe. It makes me think about it like, ugh. Like nieces and nephews when they get married. Am I going to go to their weddings now if they're marrying someone who's been married before? Everybody else will. They'll judge me. The wide path is just go. Celebrate the family. You're not celebrating the family. You're celebrating a sin. Jesus tells us about taking this narrow path, and we sit in church and we hear the Gospels and we're like, yeah, I got that, take the narrow path. My job is to make myself and then you really, really think about it. What does it mean if we apply it to 2023? And that's why I want you to look in all those areas of your life where you're doing something that's just, I wouldn't necessarily do it. I just don't want to have grief. I just don't want to be judged. I just don't want any conflict. Is that the wide path or is that the narrow path? Sometimes it's good to, I don't want to have conflict. It's not worth it. Okay, maybe that's what God's calling you to do. But if you think about your moral choices and you think about culture, if culture is going this way, Christ is going this way. Everyone's contracepting. You're not. Everyone's stopping at 2 kids. You're letting God decide if you want 6, 7, 8, 10 or more. You're certainly judged if you have more than your 2.1. I have a sister who planned all 4 of her kids and everyone looks at her like, oh. It's a sign of ignorance to many people. Or clearly you must have had a second marriage, right? The narrow path is doing what you know to be right, no matter what others think or say to you. If you need help making a choice, choosing the narrow path, getting off the wide path, I'm here for you. I've made every mistake in the book. That's what people tell me. Boy, if you can do it, I can do it. I know, right? But God allowed me those times that I took the wide path. He forgave me, praise God. And now He's letting me teach you how not to make the mistakes I made, but to go down the other direction. And I'm willing to go that direction with you. I'll be on that narrow path with you. We'll bump into a couple thorns, but boy, it'll be nice going through it with a friend. And guess what? The more of us that choose the narrow path, the wider it'll get. I'd love to meet you there. If you need any help, have any questions, give me a call. You can find me at breakfastwithbacon.com. Find me at any of these social media channels. I'd like to help you, your friends, your family, anyone. Because when I die and I go to heaven, I do want to go to heaven, I want God to not say to me, you missed that opportunity. You didn't open yourself. I'm here for you. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching this informational Bacon Bit. And I'd like to remind you always to live your life sunny side up.